When you talked to us in August, you said, I don't think we should abandon anybody who's been properly vetted and helped us. Do you stand by that?
Well, Margaret, I don't agree that all these immigrants or all these refugees have been properly vetted. In fact, we know that there are cases of people who allegedly were properly vetted and then were literally planning terrorist attacks on our country. That happened during the campaign, if you may remember. So clearly not all of these foreign nationals have been properly vetted.
But there are 30,000 people in the pipeline, Afghan refugees.
But my primary concern as the vice president, Margaret, is to look after the American people. And now that we know that we have vetting problems with a lot of these refugee programs, we absolutely cannot unleash thousands of unvetted people into our country.
These people are vetted. These people are vetted.
Just like the guy who planned a terrorist attack in Oklahoma a few months ago, he was allegedly properly vetted, and many people in the media and the Democratic Party said that he was properly vetted. Clearly he wasn't. I don't want my children to share a neighborhood with people who are not properly vetted, and because I don't want it for my kids, I'm not going to force any other American citizens' kids to do that either.
No, and that was a very particular case. It wasn't clear if he was radicalized when he got here or while he was living here.
I don't really care, Margaret. I don't want that person in my country, and I think most Americans agree with me.
That on your screen you see is Sarah Beckstrom right there, whose father just posted on Instagram that, oh, please everybody say a prayer in the comments. It doesn't look like she may make it. We still have no final conclusive word, but please pray. I'm a believer in the power of prayer. Here is Andrew Wolf, who is just 24 years old. His condition, as of this recording, seems to be the most promising. And again, we're just praying for this. And I have been seeing everywhere, especially from the seditious six. It just makes my blood boil. If you happen to see me go on tirades on X yesterday, I apologize, because it's not how I normally act. I went on a livid, enraged burst of just saying a lot of stuff that I would not normally say, because I was just consumed with rage over what happened to Mark Kelly, the traitor, treasonous pig, as well as the Sedition Six, Slotkin, and the whole lot of them. Here is Jeanine Pirro. So they're all blaming Trump. They're all saying, well, the troops shouldn't have been there in the first place. If that doesn't enrage you, I think you don't have warm blood coursing through your veins if you're not absolutely outraged what the Democrats have been doing to hardworking, law-abiding, tax-paying American citizens. I'm going to share with you right now what Judge Jeanine, U.S. District Attorney of Washington, D.C., who first broke the information on the two suspects. I'm going to share that with you, but I also have Kash Patel, President Trump, J.D. Vance, Stephen Miller, and then a very special clip of Charlie Kirk talking about this incident and how this, what he says, was prologue to what happened yesterday. It is very powerful. Stick around for that. But first, check this out.
That with the president believing that the National Guard members should not even have been there if it were not for the executive order.
I don't even want to talk about whether they should have been there. We ought to kiss the ground and thank God that the president said it's time to bring in more law enforcement to make sure that a city that had the fourth highest homicide rate in the country was that violence was quelled. I'm not even going to go there.
That look on Judge Jeanine's face at the end of that clip says it all. That's exactly how all of us Americans, to think that these insidious ghoul Democrats are blaming President Trump for placing troops there. I mean, they're actually blaming Trump for wanting to make crime illegal again, for wanting to clean up the streets for everyday hardworking Americans so they can take their kids out without worrying about having their head on a swivel. These insidious demonic ghouls are actually saying they shouldn't have been there in the first place. If they weren't there, nothing would have happened. Not let's clean up crime. Not let's have better immigration policies. Not let's have better vetting problems. Not let's actually prosecute and not let out criminal felons 60, 70, 80 times, like that ridiculous guy in Chicago who doused that woman with flames, which is just one incident of so many. Not let's actually crack down on crime. Not let's actually prosecute the people who deserve to be behind bars. Not actual solutions. It's President Trump's fault for having the troops out there. Am I crazy, or is this the most insane logic on planet Earth. Here's Kash Patel saying exactly what is the real root of this problem. Watch.
That granted asylum, and if so, when did that happen? Under which administration? And did authorities miss any signs, either in the asylum process or even back when he reportedly worked for the CIA? If you could talk about that.
Well, you miss all the signs when you do absolutely zero vetting. And that's exactly what happened in this case. When you, in the prior administration, made the decision to allow thousands of people into this country without doing a single piece of background checking or vetting, that's how you miss every single sign. And Secretary Kristi Noem has put out details specifically related to your other questions, so I'll let that speak for himself.
I'm going to share with you a chart that's going to demonstrate specifically what Kash Patel is talking about. But first, I want to play you this clip from Charlie Kirk, God rest his soul, talking about exactly in his most sharp, poignant, clairvoyant fashion. Boy, we miss Charlie. I still get haunted by it. I still haven't really, I mean, you might think I'm crazy, but I don't think I've, to this day, I haven't had a decent night's sleep since that happened. And Charlie Kirk, right after the disastrous withdrawal from Afghanistan, right after the disastrous announcement from Biden and that administration about what they're going to do about the Afghan refugees, here's Charlie Kirk right here, nailing it as usual.
President Joe Biden's Department of Defense will accept 30,000 Afghan refugees into military installations following the collapse of Kabul. Boom. Political transformation. Let the country crumble. Do you know there's 5 million displaced people in Afghanistan now? This was all intentional. Joe Biden let it fall apart to now say, oh, I'm so sorry. I guarantee you Joe Biden's speech this afternoon will talk about refugee assistance and relocation support. Now, Joe Biden's going to be scrambling to make good on it, and the liberal media will love it. They'll say, oh, yes, okay, now I get it. Joe Biden is now fixing his own problem. Joe Biden is stepping up, and he's allowing a flow of people from the Middle East into America. Thank you, Joe Biden. You're such a hero. You're so benevolent. You're so respectful. You're so compassionate. Do you see what's going on here? What's going on here is Joe Biden wants a couple 100,000 more Ilhan Omars to come into America to change the body politic permanently. We're playing checkers, and they're playing chess.
And so much to help thousands of Afghan families resettle in the United States.
And here's the proof, ladies and gentlemen. If you look at this chart, U.S. immigration by status from 2001 to 2024, you will see a stark, visibly demonstrative peak during the Biden 2021 to 2024 years. This was the point, ladies and gentlemen, when they realized after 2020, because they cheated so hard, there's no way in a billion years you could ever convince me that Obama was the last Democratic president and Democratic administration and DNC sort of think tank organization that felt they could still win elections with actual American citizens. But everything changed. Trump changed everything. He revolutionized the political landscape. We've never seen anything like him. Maybe the closest thing is Theodore Roosevelt, my favorite president until Trump. He revolutionized everything. He's not even right or left. Like me, I'm not right or left. He loves America. I'm a constitutional centrist. I love America. I bleed red, white, and blue. He changed everything. It scared the living crap out of the deep state, the establishment. I put the GOP in there too because they're a bunch of ballsless, feckless, do-nothings. They realized we can't win elections anymore with actual American citizens. If we don't do something, we're all out on the job. We all have to actually go get real jobs and compete in the real market like you and me in the free markets. They can't do that because they don't have any skills. You think Ghetto Crockett can get a real job? I wouldn't hire her to make me a cup of coffee. You think Ayanna Pressley, AOC, you think Jayapal and mentally Ilhan Omar and Mamdani, all these people, Chris Murphy, Dan Goldman, Eric Swallowswell, are you effing kidding me? These guys wouldn't last a second in the real world. So what did they do? They opened our border and let in millions and millions of people, costing the sacrifice These poor National Guardsmen are just emblematic. They're a symbol. Thousands and thousands of American families aren't going to enjoy their holidays this year. Thousands and thousands of Americans are never going to experience Thanksgiving, Christmas, Easter, New Year's ever the same again. Look how many millions and millions Biden let in to our country. Now does it make sense why they're fighting tooth and nail? Now does it make sense that ridiculous video they made yesterday telling military officers to disobey their commander-in-chief, the most egregious act of sedition I've ever seen in my lifetime? I can't think of anything that comes close. Oh, and now they're all backpedaling. This is on you. The blood is on your hands.
And so much to help thousands of Afghan families resettle in the United States.
The crimes committed by the Biden-Kamala regime are innumerable. Innumerable. And I'm still trying to patiently wait for justice, for accountability, just like you are. I'm sick and tired of it. I want it to end. I want these guys done behind bars. Obama, Soros, Biden, Kamala, Tampon Tim, they should all be completely eviscerated from the pages of history. And their legacy should be completely void, except for one thing. Complete mutineer, treasonous pigs, period. If you agree with me, put an American flag in the comments down below, or just say, yeah. Here's President Trump's response to what happened, and then come on back. I'm going to play for you what Stephen Miller, who just obliterates, absolutely calls it like it is. Here's Trump.
As President of the United States, I am determined to ensure that the animal who perpetrated this atrocity pays the steepest possible price. I can report tonight that based on the best available information, the Department of Homeland Security is confident that the suspect in custody is a foreigner who entered our country from Afghanistan, a hellhole on earth. He was flown in by the Biden administration in September 2021 on those infamous flights that everybody was talking about. Nobody knew who was coming in. Nobody knew anything about it. His status was extended under legislation signed by President Biden, a disastrous president, the worst in the history of our country. This attack underscores the single greatest national security threat facing our nation. The last administration let in 20 million unknown and unvetted foreigners from all over the world, from places that you don't want to even know about. No country can tolerate such a risk to our very survival. An example is Minnesota, where hundreds of thousands of Somalians are ripping off our country and ripping apart that once great state. Billions of dollars are lost, and gangs of Somalians come from a country that doesn't even have a government, no laws, no water, no military, no nothing. As their representatives in our country preach to us about our Constitution and how our country is no good. We're not going to put up with these kind of assaults on law and order by people who shouldn't even be in our country. We must now re-examine every single alien who has entered our country from Afghanistan under Biden, and we must take all necessary measures to ensure the removal of any alien from any country who does not belong here or add benefit to our country. If they can't love our country, we don't want them. America will never bend and never yield in the face of terror. And at the same time, we will not be deterred from the mission these service members were so nobly fulfilling. That is why tonight I can announce that I have directed the Department of War to mobilize an additional 500 troops to help protect our capital city. We will make America totally safe again, and we will bring the perpetrator of this barbaric attack to swift and certain justice if the bullets going in the opposite direction haven't already done that. During this time of the year, when we gather at home with loved ones, these two patriots were wearing the uniform of our country, patrolling the streets of our capital. They had taken a selfless oath to defend our nation against all enemies, foreign and domestic. And that is exactly what they were doing when they were gunned down in a savage attack. I want to express my extraordinary gratitude to every member of the United States military who is deployed tonight at home and abroad. I also want to thank the Secret Service and the D.C. Metropolitan Police Department for their work today. This Thanksgiving, I ask every family to say a prayer for the two great heroes who were so horribly shot, and for their loved ones. Please say a prayer. May God bless them and comfort them, and may God bless and protect the United States of America. Thank you and good night.
Hear, hear. You know, my wife asked me yesterday, what are you thankful for, hubby? Honestly, I'm just thankful that I'm thankful for you. Obviously, I'm grateful for the many blessings that we have, and I pray every day for those who are less fortunate than I. I mean, you might not believe me, but I actually do. So I'm one of these guys who's super, super aware, hyperbolically aware of how lucky I am. Very, very lucky. But you know what I'm mostly grateful for? That I pray and thank God for every single day that Kamala is not our president, because this country is in the best hands possible. I'm grateful for you making the right choice on November 5th, 2024. Thank God we have a real leader again. Thank God we're making America safe, closing the border, and doing so much more that this awesome leader, 500 executive orders. How many has he signed? It's just insane. If you agree with me, let me know in the comments down below. Now, I'm going to end this with the headliner here, Stephen Miller, who you know as well as I do. Stephen Miller is just an all-star when it comes to telling it like it is, and he doesn't disappoint. Watch.
The Biden administration, the Democrats have inflicted on this nation the worst national security threat in our history. We've never faced a threat like this. 20 million people brought into our country from the most failed societies on earth. Afghanistan, Somalia, Libya, Iraq. Brought here, no vetting, no conditions, no rules. Brought here on visas, brought here as refugees, brought here as asylees, brought here as illegals. Brought here in every way imaginable, by plane, train, bus, automobile, by land, by sea. For 4 straight years, they deluged this country. And now, more blood is being spilled as a result. What you heard tonight from President Trump, the breaking news here tonight, is saying that his government is going to accelerate efforts to review every person added to this country over the last 20 years, or the last 4 years, all 20 million. Now, obviously, if you're illegal, you're out automatically. But everybody else who was brought here, refugee, asylum status, whatever status, as he said, if you're not someone who loves this country, if you're not adding benefit to this country, then we're going to send you out of this country. Because it's enough already. No one else has to die. No one else has to be murdered. No one else has to be shot. No more empty seats are needed at the Thanksgiving table or the Christmas table because of what Democrats have done to this country. So tonight we heard from a commander-in-chief a historic announcement, a brave announcement, exactly what America needed to hear, Kellyanne.
Amen to that. Exactly what I just said prior to showing that clip. I hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful holiday. Pray for these two amazing National Guardsmen. Leave your prayers in the comments down below. Please tap that thumbs up and make this go viral. Our mission is to make common sense go viral. We won the battle on November 5th, 2024, but the war continues because these guys are never going to stop, and we can't never stop. That's why I'm working on Thanksgiving. So help me. Thumbs up, share it with everybody. Watch it all the way through. Watch another video coming up right here. Check out these videos coming up on the screen. I know you missed some of these right here. Tap my face right there to subscribe and follow. It doesn't cost you a thing. It's free. Turn on the bell notification so you never miss out. Turn on all notifications. And as always, may God bless you and may God bless the USA and all who defend her. I'll see you soon.